my name is Emily and my metric number is 285531. Now I would like to present study on Kossan rubber industry Berhad in Malaysia and determine the relationship between Kossan performance and its determinants. In 2019, the Malaysian economy was significantly impacted by the COVID-19 outbreak. This has impacted several industries including the glove industry in Malaysia. One of the manufacturers of medical gloves, Kossan, voluntarily shut down approximately 25% of its production capacity, as well as industrial sites for a fortnight for cleaning and sanitation after 427 workers were diagnosed. Since the impacted factories has been momentarily shut down, the capacity failure is expected to amount to less than 1% of the total yearly production. On 21st December 2020, Kossan identified another 563 confirmed cases of COVID-19 after rescreening workers, leading to the target price set by Kenanga Investment Bank Berhad and RSB Investment Bank Berhad for Kossan shares has been decreased to RM7.90 and RM7.50 respectively. There were also factors that prevent Kossan from establishing a lasting competitive advantage. This included significant skill gap have appeared at Kossan, particularly in the areas of technology and digital transformation, and also the company's workforce is not diverse. This research was motivated by the following research objective. First is to identify internal or company-specific factors they may have an influence on the performance of Kossan in Malaysia. Next is to determine the external or macroeconomic factors they may impact on the performance of Kossan in Malaysia. And the last one is to research the internal and external factors they may influence the performance of Kossan. They also have three research questions of this study. First, is there any relationship between internal factors and performance of Kossan in Malaysia? Second, is there a relationship between external factors and the performance of Kossan? Third, is there any relationship between internal and external factors of Kossan's performance? The literature review is divided into two parts, which are internal and external issues, focusing on the area of corporate governance, performance, liquidity risk, credit risk, operational risk, and market risk. The company's performance is a combination of both the financial and non-financial abilities. These factors can be used to determine growth potential and evaluate how effectively the company is carrying out its business strategy. Profitability is a measure of an organization's profits relative to its expenses. To measure profitability, profitability ratios are utilized, which include ROA and ROE. In this study, ROA used as the internal factor, while ROE is the dependent variable. The internal factors used in this study are ROA, current ratio, average collection period, debt to income, operation ratio, operating margin, and CG index. Corporate governance is the relationship between management, the board of directors, controlling shareholders, and other stakeholders. It has also been described as the set of rules, control, policy, and resolution established to guide corporate behavior. Liquidity risk refers to the possibility that an individual or company might not have sufficient capital to meet their financial responsibility on time. Credit risk is the potential for a lender to incur a loss in providing funds to a borrower. It also the possibility of financial loss when the borrower is unable to repay the loan. Operational risk is described as the risk faced by a company when doing everyday business activities in a particular sector or industry. Other than that, the external factors in this study are inflation rate, interest rate, exchange rate, and also unemployment. Market risk is the possibility of individuals or other entities suffering losses due to circumstances that affect the overall development of financial market assets. This concerns encompasses the possibility of a decrease in the loss of investment. Sampling technique was used in this study. Sampling technique is a statistical method used to select a representative sample from the total population. The report sample for this study is Kossan Rubber Industry Berhad. To examine the relationship between Kossan's performance and its determinants, the company's annual report from 2017 to 2021 was chosen. Next, linear regression was also used as the method in this study, which is commonly referred to as ordinary least squares regression. This regression analysis is frequently used to determine how dependent factors affect the dependent variable. Linear regression will be conducted by using SPSS version 26. By utilizing SPSS, this study considers the relationship between 3 independent variables and 1 dependent variable. Descriptive statistics were used to analyze and summarize the sample derived from the data analyzed that collected from Kossan's annual report from 2017 to 2021. Based on the table, we can know that the company's average correction period has the highest number of mean and standard deviation. The mean of average correction period is 61.160. This shows that the approximate time takes by the company to collect its receivables are 61 days. The standard deviation is 17.5959. It shows a high volatility in profits over a 5-year period. It is critical for a company to track the success of developing an accounts receivable procedure in order to make sure they have adequate cash on hand to meet their financial obligation. Based on the correlation tables, the most significant variable to ROE or financial performance of Kossan is operation ratio because it got the p-value of 0.000027. A low operating ratio is considered a positive indicator as it shows that a company is spending less than it's earned. Other than that, there are some variables that not relevant to ROE or financial performance of Kossan since the p-value is greater than 0.1, which are inflation rate, interest rate, and exchange rate. By comparing with all of the model summary of the internal variable recorded the highest adjusted R-squared. There are only 2 variables which are CG index and current ratio contribute to Kossan's financial performance or ROE with an adjusted R-squared of 0.98 or 98%. This means that 98% of the variation in the profitability variable ROE can be explained by the CG index and the current ratio, while 2% is explained by other factors. Moving on, by comparing all the ANOVA tables, the ANOVA for the internal variables recorded a significance level for the ANOVA with a p-value of 0.010, which is less than the p-value of 0.05 set for the significance of the ANOVA. It significantly predicted that the outcome variable and several of the selected independent variables for the internal factors such as the GG index and the current ratio could have an impact on Kossan's ROE. For the internal variable equation coefficient, the research indicated that the current ratio and CG index are positively significant to ROE with a p-value 0.01 and 0.036 respectively. If the current ratio is below 1, it means that the company's short-term debt exceeds the value of its current assets. However, this does not mean that the company is in an unhealthy financial position. Therefore, when assessing a company's current ratio, a comprehensive analysis needs to be carried out, taking into account the particular circumstances and context, and in conjunction with other financial indicators and factors. There is a close relationship between corporate governance and current ratio. Effective corporate governance helps company management to identify and address issues that lead to a current ratio below 1. In conclusion, when cross-checking the correlation table and the coefficient table, the results show that the current ratio and CG index have a major impact on Kossan's performance. Finally, only objective 1 of this study was completed. This is because the results show that internal factors do have an impact on Kossan's performance or ROE when examined its combination. Based on the above findings, it is concluded that the current ratio and CG index has a more significant impact on Kossan's financial performance and annual profitability. Therefore, the company needs to take action to address this issue in order to improve its financial position and increase profitability. To improve the current ratio, the company can focus on shortening the conversion cycle of borrowers or receivables. The company can control the current ratio by accelerating liquidity through debtors. The company also can use more frequent billing cycles and special promotions to speed up payback. The company should pay down current liability quickly to reduce debt levels and improve the current ratio. In addition, reviewing and managing short-term debt is critical to proper solvency. The company can pay creditors early to save interest costs and obtain discounts. The importance of the CG index also highlights the positive impact of good corporate governance on a company's financial performance. Boards should strive to ensure that there is an adequate balance between directors with organization experience and knowledge and those with specialist knowledge or fresh perspective. This way, There will not be a variety of perspectives to critically review the company's plan and ensure that its characteristics are relevant. The ability of directors to act also affect the relationship between the board with management and with stakeholders. There should at least having 3 non-executive directors, which call an ED, on the company's board. This is because an ED exercises independent judgment and improves the quality and transparency of decision making. It can reduce conflict of interest between management and stakeholders and provide objective and independent advice and recommendation.
That's all for me. Thank you for watching.